Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to 168 Hours, your weekly roundup of the top local stories. I'm Midham Naim, your host for the evening. Stay tuned. President Dr. Mohammad Moise strongly condemned Israel's attack on Iran, stressing that such aggression constitutes a grave violation of international law. The president's remarks, shared via his personal X account, come amid escalating tensions in the Middle East.
President Dr. Moise highlighted the urgent need for de-escalation and called on the international community to take immediate action to address these provocations. Further emphasizing the implications of continued hostilities, the president stressed that further aggression could have devastating consequences not only for Iran but also for neighboring countries and the global community at large. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in a separate statement condemning the attack, said Israel's continued disregard for international law and its grave violations thereof significantly undermine regional security and pose a serious threat to peace and stability in the region. It said Israel's attack on Iran comes at a time when it continues to attack Gaza, contributing to the destabilization of the entire region, calling on the international community to take decisive and coordinated action to de-escalate the situation and prevent further deterioration. In a major attack early Friday, Israel pounded Iran in a series of air raids, striking targets including Tehran's nuclear and military sites. The operation killed senior figures, among them the armed forces chief and top nuclear scientists, and Iran has called Israel's wave of strikes a declaration of war.
Vice President Hussein Mohammad Latif outlines the government's strategy to cultivate a skilled Maldivian workforce over the next 5 years, calling it central to President Dr. Mohammad Moise's broader vision for national economic transformation.
He was speaking at the inauguration of a national survey designed to assess the country's human capacity needs held at the Maldives National University or MNU auditorium. The vice president said the administration maintains its commitment to achieving developed nation status by 2040, a goal he noted depends on the emergence of an educated, capable and industrious citizenry engaged in income-generating sectors. Reaffirming President Moise's pledge to eliminate unemployment among Maldivians within the current 5-year term, Vice President Latif pointed to progress already made. Among the steps taken, he elaborated, is the identification of specific job categories to be reserved exclusively for Maldivian nationals. The vice president's remarks also addressed new avenues of economic development, citing the creation of special economic zones, plans for an international financial center, and the introduction of bunkering and sea-to air cargo services. These ventures, he said, have already attracted significant attention. He added that the upcoming opening of the new terminal at Vilhena International Airport or VIA is expected to bring considerable employment opportunities. Closing his address, the vice president called for collective participation in shaping the country's future. He underscored that sustained national progress relies on the involvement of energetic and skilled citizens and described the pursuit of a resilient, self-sufficient economy as a duty owed to future generations.
Minister of Tourism and Environment Tariq Ibrahim says that the government is intensifying efforts to safeguard its protected environmental areas while strategically leveraging them for economic growth. He described the initiative as a means to generate a revenue from these sites while ensuring the continued preservation of the nation's fragile marine ecosystem, a vital pillar of its globally recognized tourism industry.
Protecting the Maldives' natural landscapes, particularly its vast marine territories, remains central to the country's identity. In an exclusive interview with PSM News, Minister Tariq underscored the importance of maintaining these environments, which provide a habitat for diverse bird and animal species, fish populations, and coral reefs. He noted that a significant portion of visitors chose the Maldives precisely for its untouched natural beauty and thriving underwater biodiversity. Despite having designated 93 protected areas, only 5 are currently under sustainable management, according to the minister. He stressed the need for conservation models that not only preserve ecological integrity but also support financial viability, marking a shift toward a more economically sustainable approach. A substantial number of protected sites remain inadequately maintained, a concern Minister Tariq views as pressing. He underscored the necessity of developing comprehensive maintenance strategies and income-generating mechanisms, enabling these areas to be showcased effectively to international visitors. The long-term objective, he explained, is to ensure that once protected sites are sustainably managed and optimized for tourism, they will begin to yield economic benefits. Such an approach aligns with the Maldives' reputation as paradise on earth, a designation earned through its white sandy beaches and crystal clear waters that continue to attract travelers worldwide. Environmental conservation remains central to President Moises' administration. A key policy initiative includes the establishment of a nature park in every atoll, along with the creation of 3 additional biosphere reserves, an effort that reinforces the nation's commitment to preserving its natural assets while integrating economic sustainability.
Data released by the Maldives Monetary Authority (MMA) show that the Maldives' usable foreign currency reserves saw a substantial increase in May, reaching $217 million. This 27% rise from April highlights a notable improvement in short-term liquidity.
The central bank reported that usable reserves stood at $171.3 million in April, before climbing to $217.88 million by the end of May, a gain of $46.58 million within a month. The broader picture, however, reflects a contrast, as overall official reserves fell 5% from $865.35 million in April to $815.82 million by the end of May. With pressures on reserve levels persisting, the government has introduced measures to reinforce foreign currency holdings. A legislation passed earlier this year mandates that a portion of tourism sector revenue be exchanged through domestic banks. Initially, banks are required to sell 60% of these funds to the MMA, but an amendment that took effect on 1st June raised this threshold to 90%, ensuring a greater influx of foreign currency into official reserves. The timing of these developments coincides with Fitch Ratings' reaffirmation of the Maldives' credit rating at CC, maintaining its previous assessment. Analysts have long pointed to fluctuations in foreign currency reserves as a critical factor influencing adjustments to the nation's credit standing.
The Maldives Inland Revenue Authority (MIRA) reports that the government revenue from tourism land rent in the Maldives rose notably in 2024, with resorts lease collection reaching $116.75 million, a 6.7% increase over the previous year.
The figure exceeded MIRA's projection of $110.25 million by 7.4%, underscoring stronger than expected contributions from one of the nation's most vital sources of state income. It also marked an identical percentage increase over the $110.25 million recorded in 2023. MIRA, in its 2024 annual report, pointed to the initiation of lease payments by new entities and consistently high compliance among resorts as primary drivers of the elevated collections. The authority also noted that payments have been successfully secured for a greater number of lease periods, a dynamic that reinforced overall revenue growth. Tourism land rent ranked as MIRA's third largest revenue stream last year. Kof Atoll contributed the most with $35.17 million, followed by Ra Atoll with $16.88 million and Ba Atoll with $13.03 million.
The government's commitment clamp down on undocumented foreign workers in the country has led to a significant increase in revenue collection from expatriate workers-related fees. According to the 2024 annual report of Maldives Inland Revenue Authority (MMA), revenue collections from work permit fees and expatriate quota fees last year had exceeded estimates.
The expatriate quota fees showed the highest increase, recording $28 million last year, comfortably bypassing an estimated $16.6 million or 255.43 million rupiah. Last year, $19.1 million was collected for 147,334 quotas, while $8.9 million was collected as partial payments. MIRA said the fee is estimated based on the proportion of quota allocated. However, it added that the revenue collected exceeded estimates, as most of the outstanding amounts were paid in installments with the introduction of the installments option. The second biggest contributor to the boost was the increase in revenue collections from work permit fees of foreigners. Work permit fee is charged from foreigners working in the country at the rate of around $22.7 per month. The government in its forecasts had estimated to collect $35.9 million from work permit fees for foreigners last year. However, at the end of the year, the figure stood at $43.5 million, which is an increase of 21.4% compared to the estimates. According to MIRA, the increase in foreign workers-related fees was a result of the strict enforcement measures taken by the Immigration Department to address the long-standing issue of undocumented foreigners working in the Maldives. Last year also saw a significant improvement in the compliance rate of expats-related fees payments compared to 2023, which stood at 22%. However, the figure has now risen to more than 50%, the government had said in April. When the incumbent government took over in November 2023, $123.2 million in foreign workers-related fees was outstanding, which has since been slashed to around $58 million within this short period.
The Maldives Tuna Race, an event organized by the Maldivian Fishermen's Lobby, is open to all Poland line fishermen in the country.
The race will be held from 5th to 6th December to celebrate the anniversary of the Fishermen's Lobby and the Fishermen's Day. The Fishermen's Lobby is hoping to make this annual event with special prizes up for grabs. The 24-hour race is designed to foster friendship and unity among local fishermen and to inspire young fishermen, especially in pole and line fishing. The lobby said large cash prizes will be offered to the winners of the race to encourage wider participation. The prizes on offer range from $6,485 for the winner, $3,243 for the runner-up, and $1,621 for the second runner-up. The winners will be determined by the weight of their catch within the designated time frame. The deadline for registration for the Maldives Tuna Race 2025 will expire at 4 p.m. on 10th July. Fishing vessels interested in competing can submit the duly completed form to the lobby office or through its official email. However, the opportunity to participate in the race will only be open to fishing vessels registered in the National Fishermen's Register along with a valid fishing license.
Maldives Inland Revenue Authority MIRA's annual reports show that the authority recovered around $243.8 million through enforcement action last year.
According to MIRA, it had issued notices to 36,843 non-filers last year, out of which 8,139 taxpayers had complied with the notice. The report said MIRA had managed to recover $243.8 million from 18,969 different taxpayers last year through its half a dozen enforcement measures. Recovery through enforcement action, notice $177.7 million, dues clearance $40.6 million, name and shame $2.8 million, account freezing $7.1 million, legal action $5,624, reminder call/email $15.6 million. In addition to enforcement action, MIRA has introduced an installment plan for non-compliers, which was granted to 1,029 taxpayers last year. The total amount owed by these parties stood at $126.1 million, out of which $58 million were recovered from 3,535 different taxpayers. Last year, 55 cases of non-compliance were decided in favor of MIRA by the civil court. With the strengthening of enforcement measures, the MIRA has noted a significant improvement in its efforts to recover tax dues and prevent tax evasion.
The permanent representative of the Maldives to the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific, UNESCAP, Huda Ali Sharif, presents her letter of credence to the Under-Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of UNESCAP, Armida Salsia Alice Jabana.
During a ceremony held at the United Nations Conference Center in Bangkok, Thailand, the new permanent representative, Hoda, reaffirmed the Maldives government's strong commitment to regional cooperation and multilateral engagement. She emphasized the Maldives' commitment to actively participate in UNESCAP's initiatives, particularly in areas such as sustainable development, climate resilience, and inclusive economic growth. The Executive Secretary of UNESCAP, Alice Jabana, welcomed the permanent representative's appointment and reiterated UNESCAP's continued support for the Maldives in advancing its national development priorities and accelerating progress towards the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. UNESCAP brings together 53 member states in the Asia-Pacific region to address development challenges through regional cooperation. As one of the 5 United Nations regional commissions, UNESCAP provides knowledge-based solutions, technical assistance, and capacity-building support to help countries achieve their national goals and commitments under the 2030 Agenda.
The new Commissioner of Police Ismail Naveen vows to prevent police from abusing the sweeping powers granted to law enforcement authorities under the new landmark law to combat organized crime and gang-related violence.
The new law, ratified last month, defines offenses and penalties related to gang activity and serious organized crimes in the Maldives. It enhances law enforcement powers, introduces measures to protect children from gang involvement, and establishes systems to monitor and manage high-risk individuals. The act also lays out a broader framework for prevention and enforcement measures. While previous legislation targeting gang activity, intimidation, and the possession of dangerous weapons has been in place since 2010, it has not produced effective results. The new law addresses these gaps and provides the stronger response the public has long called for. In his first media interview with PSM News after his first appointment as the country's new police chief, Naveen moved to quickly allay public concerns over the potential for the police to abuse the powers granted under the new law. Police are currently developing procedures and manuals to enforce the law, he said, adding that efforts are also underway to strengthen the capacity of the MPS. The police commissioner admitted that there is more work to be done to ensure full implementation of the law. The commissioner of police said he hoped the new law would curb gang violence in the country, warning that the new law would be a force to be reckoned with in preventing gang-related crimes. The government has taken significant steps over the past 18 months to tackle gang-related crime. A dedicated gang crime enforcement unit was established within the Maldives Police Service on the 1st of July 2024. Since then, 31,511 individuals have been questioned in gang hotspots, 180 arrests have been made, and charges filed against 83 suspects. Notably, no lives have been lost to gang violence during this period. The new law will fully come into effect in 3 months.
The Maldives Qualification Authority MQA issues a formal advisory urging students intending to pursue higher education abroad to verify the credibility of foreign institutions and academic programs, cautioning that degrees from unrecognized bodies may be declared invalid.
At the core of the advisory is the requirement to secure a recognition of the intended program document before departing for overseas study. This verification, the authority explained, certifies that the institution is recognized by the MQA and that the selected program adheres to the Maldives National Qualifications Framework, or MNQF. According to the MQA, the process also establishes the institution's recognition by the competent authority in its home country and confirms the official registration of the academic program within the institution's offerings. Failure to obtain this recognition, the MQA warned, may result in the rejection of a student's qualifications, especially when the awarding institution does not appear on the authority's list of approved providers. It further clarified that no responsibility would be assumed for financial or academic loss incurred due to the invalidation of certificates from non-recognized institutions. To avoid such outcomes, students are strongly encouraged, the MQA noted, to complete the recognition procedure prior to commencing their studies. Those already enrolled abroad without this step should, it added, apply without delay. The advisory also carried a more pointed warning regarding higher education institutions in Sri Lanka. Based on recent information, the MQA noted that certain entities registered with Sri Lanka's Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission, or TVEC, have been suspended from operation. Specifically named were Metropolitan College and all campuses operated under the ESOFT brand. Students currently enrolled at these institutions were urged to notify the authority by email at recognition@mqa.gov.mv, while prospective applicants were strongly advised not to pursue programs offered by the affected centers. This notice, the authority said, forms part of its broader mandate under the Ministry of Higher Education, Labor and Skills Development to uphold academic standards across Maldivian institutions and protect the long-term validity of the qualifications attained by its graduates.
That's all we have for now. Thank you for watching 168 Hours. See you next time.